So at this point, I have talked to hundreds of women and men, mostly women, just in my DMs alone. And what I have found is almost every single one of them want their marriage after infidelity. I would say 98% of the people that I have spoken to want their marriage, both men and women. They just do not know how it's possible to come back from that. They just don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle the triggers, how to handle the distrust. They don't know how to handle the feelings of betrayal. And they don't see a way forward, but they want a way forward. And that is what me and my husband are called to show. We are called to share our testimony, to show you that there is a way forward. And if you've seen my face before, you know that's the case. We went through the infidelity. We went through a separation where we lugged children back and forth between homes. We fully planned on getting divorced. And now we stand here years later, happy, healthy, whole, with a Christ-centered marriage. It's possible. And I will shout it from the rooftops. And if you're seeing my face for the first time today, be encouraged. Yes, it takes work. Yes, it takes two. And yes, it takes time. But it's definitely possible. You can be healed. You can be whole if you both want it. God bless.
My friend, you have to understand that when you have done something like cheating or not keeping your word, what that does to a woman. And I know some of you are saying, God, man, my wife has totally gone off the chain. After she found out, and that's the key is, you didn't tell her yourself she found out. And she is just off the chain, angry, mad, disrespectful, calling out your name, all that good stuff. You have to understand, my friend, you took something that was very dear to her love, her commitment, and you squandered it. You told her in so many words, it's not really that important. And you're wondering why she is in this mindset. One of the things I love about being a marriage counselor, it is a constant reminder that the rage of a woman is real. And I don't want my wife in that mindset. If anything, I want my wife in a passionate mindset toward me, loving on me, can't keep her hands off of me. Oh. Yeah, what a blessing. So, sir, just trying to tell you, you did it, you deal with it. But that's why you need counseling to help me to calm her down. Because she's full of rage. To prove my point, if your wife ever cheated on you, there ain't be no counseling for most men. So, understand the rage of a wife that you cheated on. Peace.
Healing after infidelity is possible. And I know that's like my whole platform, but it breaks my heart to see that the widely held belief is that you never get over it as the person who was betrayed. The widely held belief is that it will always be in the back of your mind. No matter how much time passes, no matter what you do, it will always be in the back of your mind. You will never fully trust your partner again. You should just leave because there's no way you will ever be the same. There's no way your relationship will ever go back to the way it was. And that is just not true. If you are just putting in the time and hoping for healing, then right, that's absolutely true. Because while time does heal a lot, it is but one factor of healing. And with something this deep, it is not enough. You have to heal on purpose. You have to make a decision to heal. If you do decide to stay and you and your partner do put in the work, your relationship can end up more beautiful than ever before. You shouldn't go back to the way that it was because that way did not work. It should be better after something like this happens and you guys put in the work to heal together. And you have to watch what you consume, because if you really want your marriage and all you see is people saying that it's impossible to fully heal, there will always be a part of you that's broken, that you will never fully trust them again. If that's all that you're consuming, that is what you will believe. But it's not true. Trust can be fully restored. It will not always be in the back of your mind. What was once a huge part of our marriage and our lives is now becoming just a footnote. The further that we get out with all of the intentional work that we have done with God, the further that we get out from it, the smaller it becomes. I'm telling you. I am telling you, not just take the word of these people. It's possible. And if you need help, I got you.
It's going to sound crazy to all the people that aren't really emotionally mature just yet, but this is for all of my people that have been married and you've gone through infidelity, you survived it, and y'all are back together trying to make things work. And my husband and I were separated and he was with the other woman. One of the things God told me was, hey, if you're going to forgive him, you got to forgive her too. And at first I was upset because to me it was easier to forgive my husband because I loved him, because I knew more about him. I understood what God was revealing about his struggles and all those things. But this woman was a stranger. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know her backstory. I didn't know her life. But God had to remind me that if this woman is comfortable with being with a married man, there's brokenness in her too, because she doesn't know her identity in me, in Christ. She doesn't know who I've called her to be. She doesn't know that I have a husband that is for her. God had to remind me that usually people that can do that, stay with a married person or, commit infidelity, it is because of trauma. It's because of wounds. It's because they are fighting this spiritual battle that they are completely unaware of. God had to remind me that if my husband himself is going through spiritual warfare and battles because of separation from me, what do you think that woman is dealing with? The Bible tells us we are to forgive 70 times 7 times. So forgiving her wasn't for her, it was for me. It was so that when I stand before the Lord, he can look at me and see that I am spotless and that I am blameless because I have forgiven those who have committed offenses against me. And though I didn't know her personally, I had to forgive her because she didn't know what she was doing. And yes, she understood free will. I'm choosing to be with this married man, and she knew what was going on. She didn't know spiritually what she was doing. She didn't know spiritually what she was doing to herself. Like I said, for those of you that are wanting to work it out and you've decided to reconcile and get back together and work through it and you're working on forgiveness, it's not only important that you forgive your spouse, but you forgive the other person, whether it's the man that your wife was with or the woman that your husband was with. Forgive them. Pray that God meet them where they are. Pray that God show them who they are in him. Pray that they will have an encounter with the Lord and that they can surrender and walk away from the life of sin that they are living. Pray that God will show.
I came across this post where this woman said that cheating is no longer a non-negotiable in her marriage, and I understood what she meant. She basically went into saying like how she used to be the woman who was like, I would never deal with anybody who cheat. I'm never like had that as a very much a non-negotiable. And she did clarify that she did not necessarily deal with infidelity in her marriage, but she just said that as she started to understand her marriage more, understand that her and her husband are both human beings, she was able to reflect and say like, am I willing to just throw it all away if that was a factor or a challenging season in the marriage? And she said no. And me personally, I can say that I agree with that. I've never dealt with infidelity in my marriage. But for me to sit here and say that if my husband was to cheat on me, I'm walking out the door, I'm out, adios, gotta go, I would be lying. I think that it would be very unfortunate. It would be a very tough time. But I believe that, depending upon the situation, what can happen, you can rebuild. It just has to be worth it. You have to both want it. And I felt like watching that post, it was just really powerful to see how we are able to recognize that different seasons and different moments in marriage, and that, again, it has nothing to do with infidelity. It can just be a rough moment that you guys went through, a sickness, a financial, burden that pushed you guys to have to work through it and really fight for your marriage. And you might see things that is bigger than just letting go your marriage, due to somebody being human and making a choice, a bad choice, I don't know. I just think that I know people are going to come for me, or you might have your opinion about what I'm saying and have a way to twist the words of what I'm saying. But again, I felt that on so many levels of all the what I'm never going to do and what I'm never going to deal with, and until you get into a marriage, and again with a good person who can make a bad decision, it comes down to like your faith and forgiveness, and really sticking to your vows, for better or for worse. It's there for a reason.